I'm excited to introduce my guest on this show today, Abby Adkins, who has accepted the head coaching position at Elliott County High School for their women's basketball team. And Abby, who just finished a career at Pikeville, playing basketball at the University of Pikeville, and of course a successful one there. And Abby, it's so good to have you on. And first off, let's talk a little bit about your career as a player and what led you want to accept the coaching position. Because I look at it historically, I kind of wonder, first off, like just who are, maybe some of our youngest coaches historically to accept a position of that magnitude, and what the transition from player to coach has been like recently.
Yeah, we've wondered that ourselves, who was the youngest coach to ever take a head coaching position. I actually just turned 21, so I am very young. I might be in the running for that, I don't know. But whenever it comes to coaching, it's just something I've always known that I wanted to do. I have always taken up leadership responsibilities. I was a team captain whenever I was in 7th grade all the way through my varsity career. Whenever I was at the University of Pikeville, I was the vice president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. I've always taken up those roles and opportunities. I'm a very vocal person. I'm very confident, and I like to lead people, and I like to create other leaders. So coaching has always been in the cards for me. Now, there was a little bit of a time period where I dabbled in refereeing. I refereed for the KHSAA. I did boys varsity. I really liked that, but then I kept going back to coaching. I kept going back to it. I love skill development. I love getting to be a part of a program and bettering athletes.
You mentioned your leadership, and that stood out to me a little bit, Abby. What would be a time that you could think of when that your leadership came through and helped your team in a particular situation?
I would say, so whenever I was younger, whenever I was in 7th grade, Elliott County, we've always had very young teams. All the way, I think whenever I was a freshman, nobody on the team could drive. We were that young. So I had to take on that role. There was really never a leader that came before me because we were so young. So I kind of had to step into that role prematurely and step up and lead my team. And I really feel like that has benefited me in the long run. I am very well equipped to lead a team. Whenever I was at Upike, people would often comment, that I was the energy bus. I was a spark plug. Everybody called me Sparky. I kind of took that role onto my shoulders. I was a communicator, a facilitator. I loved doing that stuff. That's what I was good at.
Mm-hmm. And reflecting on your career and the success that you had, just what comes to mind?
Well, I like to think of myself as a player who endeavors in the small victories. Whenever I was in high school, I did have some big accolades and stuff, but I would rather show up in the places that maybe aren't going to show up on the stat sheet. I want my teammates to be able to say, that's the girl that I want on my team. That's the person that I know is going to come up to bat for me. Those are the kind of victories that I want to be known for.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about that since I know that you've had your chance. You've had, I believe, a couple summer practices right now, and I believe are getting ready to play a summer schedule. And just talk about how your acclimation to the team has gone and your plans for the program.
So I've got to really know my team and even the parents and form relationships already. Some of the girls already knew who I was because it wasn't that long ago that I was playing, and they would come and watch me play or whatever. They knew I went to Upike. So they kind of knew who I was. And then my younger sister, Katie, she plays at Kentucky Christian University now. She was on the team just 2 years ago. So they knew her well. So I've already formed relationships with these girls even before I was their coach. So it's been weird switching roles and coming in and taking the reins and kind of being like, all right, I'm your coach now. I'm going to be your leader. You're my players. It's been very odd, but I think I've acclimated to it very well. We have already fostered a really great sense of respect, and I can already see the culture is on the rise. There is the attitude and the effort that I'm seeing is tremendous.
Do you feel like being a recent player that's been an advantage for you, especially with all the changes, just how the game's evolved? Do you feel like that's been an advantage for you as a coach?
I do think that it does give me an advantage. I feel like I'm still fresh, you know. My season did get cut short due to an injury, but I'm still a pretty fresh player. I got out there today, actually, and I ran with my players, you know. I tell them all the time, I'm not going to make you do something that I wouldn't do. So that's fun. And I feel like I bring a new mindset. I'm not real old school, you know. I bring in that new mindset and that fresh perspective, and I think that gives me a really good foot in.
And let's talk a little bit about Elliott County, just in general. You're talking about a team that, I think they've had a couple regional appearances in a row, if I remember right. And,
yep.
It's had some success, and talk about the community, because, every community you hear, and I might say this if I'm calling a game or on an interview, that, yeah, this is a tight-knit community, but that especially goes for Elliott County.
Yes, it does. That's one of the reasons I came back home. It's the people, the community here. Actually, this is funny. Coach Williams at Upike, he would always joke with my teammates, you know. Whenever Abby had her signing, all of Elliott County came out, and that was no joke. Everybody in Elliott County came out. Everybody here wants to see you do good. They want to see you prosper, and everybody has a positive attitude about it. I know everybody here. Everybody knows me. I know everybody's grandparents. Like, it's that close. We're that tight. And I just think that also gives me an advantage. I feel like the community is backing me. They want to see me do well, and they're going to do everything they can to help me.
That's awesome. And gosh, yeah, that's sure. And a lot of great tradition you think running through there. Of course, just Coach Rick Mays, and you just think of so many good memories when it comes to Elliott County. And Abby, we're going to shift the interview a little bit, and this is something I do in every one of them. And I know the community knows you pretty well, but for the people in and out of the community to get to know you a little bit better, first off, your favorite sports memory?
Oh, man, there are so many. So my favorite sports memory from high school is probably, we were playing Jackson City, and I was a sophomore, and they were going to run a triangle and put 2 chasers on me. And I ended up scoring 40 points in that game, and we won the game or whatever, but I remember, how ecstatic and fun the afterwards part of that game is. And going back to that tight-knit community, I just remember my teammates were so happy for me. The community was so happy for me. Everybody showed out. It was in the newspaper. I got interviewed, all of that fun stuff. So that was cool for a sophomore in high school. And then, obviously, I have to mention a really good memory from college was whenever we won the AAC championship this year. So we won the entire conference championship. That was amazing. It was a great experience. That's something that not everybody can say they do. You know, we got a ring. But at the end of the day, my favorite memories, the ones that I will cherish the most, are the ones that happened off the basketball court with my teammates. Riding on the charter buses, calling an Uber to go get ice cream while we're at the hotel, playing cards in the lobby. All of those things are really my favorite memories.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned one of the things that you mentioned, Abby, was about that in Elliott County, and talk about something like when you guys get some downtime. What's something you like to do that direction?
In Elliott County, well, if anybody has ever been here, they know that there is not much here to do. There's not one single red light in town. So you kind of have to make your own fun. I love to hang out with my friends, my sister. We like to go off-road riding in side-by-sides. I like to fish, just fun things like that. You kind of have to make your own fun around here.
Yeah, and sometimes that can be the best fun to have. And let's talk a little bit about your team at Upike, because one thing that was so fascinating was that team, and gosh, I don't have my numbers on me right now. It was but I remember asking the Allie this, and it's in the range of, I think, something like 42%, Abby, of your scoring came from players, including yourself, that were 16th region players. And
Yeah.
You look at the success that you had. Just what does that feel like, just knowing that, players from this area contributed at such a high level to such a high level program?
I love to see it because, whenever you get to the college level, people look at players from maybe the lower, the Appalachia region, the rural area, and they think that they didn't have the same resources we did. They didn't have the same training we did. They're not going to be as good as us. But then you have these girls, we come in there and we just prove them all wrong, that we can stick with them, we can hang with them. We're just as capable of doing these things as anybody else. And that was the great thing about Upike. Almost everybody on the team came from a more Appalachia region, more rural area. So it was pretty amazing, honestly, to see. And having that many players from the 16th region account for that much of the scoring, that was incredible.
Mhm. And so let's talk a little bit about shifting to that, because when I first posted about that on Facebook, because that's when I remember you sending me an ad on Facebook when I mentioned your name and that, and it was just the post I caught that you had posted about was in particular your baptism, and I know that happened for you this year, and talk about that and just what it meant to you.
So I grew up in a church my whole entire life, and I professed to be a Christian, and then I got to college or whatever, and it was actually on Good Friday I got saved, and it felt so peaceful, and I feel like that moment in my life, everything changed. Basketball, school, everything, Everything I was doing it for the glory of God. I was doing it for an audience of one. It wasn't about me anymore. It wasn't about my team. It wasn't about my parents. It wasn't about the community. I was doing everything for God, and that just lifted it all off my shoulders. And being able to say that I am a lot for Him and being able to make disciples, that was the greatest moment of my life.
Yes, gosh, such a good, and it's indescribable almost, isn't it? Like,
yes.
When you look at it and just think about the feeling of it, and what is your favorite food?
Oh, everybody's gonna laugh at me, but my favorite food is oatmeal. I have to eat a bowl of oatmeal every day, and if I don't eat it in the morning, I'll eat it for dinner. I don't care. I have to have oatmeal every single day. I love it.
Nice. What about as a player? What was your pregame ritual?
Of course, that changed from year to year, but so this past year, we would get down to the arena. We have a really nice locker room. I'd get down there, and I'd always bring like a little protein bar with me. As soon as I got down there, I would eat that. They would bring a little boom box into the locker room, and they'd turn it on or whatever. And I would start, like, I always danced. I love to dance with my team and stuff, so I did that before every game. I would dance around the locker room, get everybody kind of going. And then after a little dance-off, I would get ready for the game. I'd go out onto the court at the arena. I always had to make 50 shots from 5 different spots, so 10 shots at each spot. Then I'd step out to the three-point line, and I'd make 50 out there, and then I would make 20 free throws in a row. And that was my pregame ritual for the basketball part of it. So then we would go back into the locker room and we'd come back out. And before the game, we would make a little circle, like a huddle on the court, and I would like dance in it to get the team kind of hyped up or whatever. And then I would break it down. And that was kind of like the team's ritual, you know. We always did that, and I love being a part of a team ritual as well.
My gosh, that's pretty impressive. And what's a cool fact about yourself that something that maybe not a lot of people know?
Cool fact about me is that aside from being an English teacher, I also am a certified personal trainer and nutritionist. And while I was at Upike, I was actually hired by the school to be a personal trainer and nutritionist for students, staff, athletes, med students, everybody. So that's a really fun fact about me.
Wow, that is really neat. And the last question for you, Abby, are there any, is there a message to the Elliott County community that you would like to send?
I just want them to know that I'm here and I'm ready to change the culture.
Nice. Nicely said. Abby Adkins, head women's basketball coach at Elliott County, and we look forward to watching her and the team this year and how they do. And I'm sure it'll be a fun ride with a lot of memories, just like the playing years. And we want to say thank you all for tuning in and watching this edition of the Player Spotlight. I'm Tyler Rowland. God bless you, and we will see you soon.